Other techniques of risk analysis in capital budgeting. So, first one is sensitivity analysis. It is one of the methods of analyzing the risks surrounding the capital expenditure decision and enables the firm to assess how responsive the project's NPV is to changes in those variables based on which NPV is computed. In simple terms, how it affects. See, every firm has different variables. So if any change happens, so how the NPV is affecting. So that is what the sensitivity analysis is analyzing. Say for example, so it may happen during the course of business. Selling price may get changes. Sales volume, so it may not be as expected. Initial cost may rise, operating cost may rise. So estimated benefits may be cut down by the statute. So in such an event, so adverse things may happen to any variable. In such a situation, so how much is impacting on NPV? Which variable is impacting more on NPV? So for which factor it is very sensitive, the NPV is very sensitive. So likewise, this analysis is beneficial. See, such changes are natural because each of these elements is only an estimate. An adverse change can result in originally computed NPV turning zero. Turning zero in the sense PV of inflows is equal to the PV of outflows. So nothing more than the outflows. If this happens, the decision maker would be hit hard. Hence, the decision maker is keen to ensure that estimates contain a reasonable buffer to absorb unforeseen changes in the critical variables of the project. So, method of computation, it is computed as the ratio of a downside change in input parameter to the value of initial parameter. So first one, each input variable is considered separately and all other assumptions are held constant. Second one, the extent of change in an input parameter that would result in zero NPV is computed. Third one, the extent of change so determined is expressed as percentage. So how much percentage it impacted on NPV. Likewise, the process is repeated for all critical variables to test their sensitivity one by one. See, considered separately one by one. Decision rule. The lower the change percentage, higher is the sensitivity. This is because a small change in input parameter leads to a reversal of investment decision. We will go with the illustration so that you will understand more clearly. The following details relating to the project analysis: the sensitivity of project to changes in initial project cost. So these are the elements: changes in initial project cost, changes in annual cash inflows, and changes in cost of capital. So each and every variable, critical variable, they consider it separately and they analyze separately, and we have to test the sensitivity. So initial project cost 1 lakh 20, annual cash inflows 45,000, project life 4, cost of capital 10%. To which of the three factors, these are the three factors: initial project cost, annual cash flows, and cost of capital. To which of the three factors the project is most sensitive if the variable is adversely affected by 10%? So, if these variables adversely affected by 10%, say for example, annual cash inflows reduced by 10%, project life increased 10%, cost of capital increased, in the sense cost is more by 10%, in the sense 11 percentage. So let us calculate the sensitivity. Solution. Statement of calculation of NPV. PV of annual cash inflows. So annual cash flows are 45,000 into, so 4 years, at 4 years, and cost of capital 10 percentage. So 45,000 into PV factor 3.169, so that we will get the present value of cash inflows, and we have to deduct the present value of cash outflows, that is 1 lakh 20,000. PV of cash outflows 1 lakh 20,000, so that the NPV is 22,605. Let us calculate the NPV through sensitivity analysis. Statement showing the calculation of NPV through statement analysis. So, what is the situation and what will be the NPV, and what are the changes occurred in NPV? So, let us go with the one by one situation. So, first one, base. What is the basis? So, NPV is 22,605. This is the base. So, here, to which of these three factors, initial project cost, annual cash inflows, and cost of capital, the project is most sensitive if the variable is adversely affected by 10%. So, what if initial project cost is varied adversely by 10%. This is the situation. So in this situation, how this NPV is affecting. So what will be the NPV? So project cost in the sense outflows. Outflows are 1,20,000. So outflows is equal to 1,20,000 plus 10%. So I am increasing the cost. Adverse effect in the sense increasing the cost. So what will be the NPV? NPV is equal to 1,42,605. So there is no changes in inflows. So only outflows were changed. Okay, NPV is 10,605. When compared to the base, how much it is affected? When compared to the base, it is affected 53.08. So the difference between base and the impact of variable divided by 22,605. So we have to represent this in percentage. So the changes occurred in NPV is 53.08. If annual cash inflows are varied adversely, so in the sense here annual cash flows, so here we added 10%, but now the situation is belongs to the cash inflows. So adverse effect in the sense we have to deduct the 10%. If annual cash inflows are varied adversely, so now cash inflows we have to determine. So cash inflows is equal to 45,000 minus 10%. So what will be the NPV? We have to convert this 90% cash flows into present value, and we have to deduct the outflows 1,20,000. So NPV is 8,345. When compared to the base year, so it affected 63.08 percentage. So the third variable, cost of capital. If cost of capital is varied adversely by 10%, that is, it becomes 11 percentage. So NPV is 45,000 into at 11 percentage. Here in illustration itself, it is given 3.103. So factor, PV factor. So NPV is 19,635. So when compared to the base, it is 13.14 percentage only. There is no such effect when compared to the others. So most affected variable is a cash flows. So the conclusion is project is most sensitive to annual cash inflows. This is how we have to evaluate the sensitivity analysis. So how sensitive this NPV is if any variable changes? That sensitivity we have to mention it in percentages.